Morning, colleagues. Welcome to today's session. I hope you are all well and you have been practicing in the previous sessions that we had before today. So the purpose of having the art sandbox training is to familiarize ourselves with the LMS that we'll be using so that we are well equipped when it comes to the functionalities and the components that are embedded within the new LMS. On today's training, we'll be covering how to create the discussion forums as well as now the topic within a discussion forum that is provided. So that's what we'll be looking at for today's training. Within the coverage, we'll be focusing in terms of now the discussions as well as the new forum and looking into topics, primarily looking at how the new forum and topics are related, as well as now going into the properties and the restrictions that are available within. So in this time, I would like us to take this opportunity and navigate to our individual sandbox so that we can all manage to log in. All right. So I believe by now we all managed to log in. So I dropped the link to log into the sandbox in the chat. So that's where we get to navigate. So after logging in, the landing page that you have landed on, you can use my course widget to navigate to the course, or you can navigate to my courses, and then you'll be able to open and launch the course. And then for today's session, what we're going to be focusing on is how to create the discussion. So there are a couple of ways in terms of doing that. The first one that we'll look at is under the activities within the navigation bar. So in the course, so this is now referred to as a navigation bar. So you click on it in terms of the activities. So under activities, then we'll navigate to discussions, because that's the one that we are looking for in today's session. So once you have landed within in this page, then you can be able now to create in terms of a new forum as well as now a new discussion. So firstly, I'd like to outline that the forums are there in terms of grouping together the themes as well as the predetermined components that you have within. So that is now you creating a forum first, and then within a forum, that's where you can be able to create the topics. So the topics that you create within the forum must be related. So the forum is there to group them together. So I'm going to show you how to do that as we get to proceed. So if now there are no topics that are created within a forum, then you can be able to navigate that and go to the discussion part, which is where we are now, to be able to look at the new forum as well as now the new topic in that aspect. All right. So in order to do that, firstly, what we must do is to navigate to the new, and then you click on the drop down arrow. So on the drop-down arrow, then we'll navigate to forum. So that's firstly what we are creating. So remember we said that forum is the one that groups together the topics that you want now to create in terms of coming up with a theme in that aspect. So that's what we do in that aspect. So here we can be able to focus to say our group that we are creating in terms of a forum, we can say that it's academic writing. And then as you do that, you are given now an option in terms of determining what now you want the topic to be appearing as. So from that, then you proceed now to go to the description. So the description is very much important as it gets to outline the existence of the forum in terms of allowing the student to know what then the forum is all about in that aspect. So as you have created that, then you provide now a description within this category in terms of outlining. So in our description, we can say this is to uh, speak about the importance of academic writing. So that will be you doing that in terms of coming up with a description. And once you are done with your description, that's when you can be able to navigate to the options. So the option, they allow you in terms of selecting number one, anonymous post. So it means that the students will be able to post the discussion that they come up with anonymously. And then there is another category in terms of you as a moderator, which now you are able to moderate all the posts that are created within the forum. So again, this is now for you to be able to come up with the options in terms of now the category of restriction to say, how do you want that to be in terms of your engagement with the student? So we can select in terms of user to start, and then as well as now display in terms of the forum. So after you have done that, you can be able to now save and close. So after selecting that, then you go to save and close. So now your forum is created. So once you have now the forum that is created, we can be able now to navigate to creating a topic from the forum. So what you do, you select in terms of the drop down arrow, then you go to topic. So after selecting on the topic, then you'll be given in terms of now the topic title that you're going to select from. So this is now in terms of coming up with a discussion that is already within a particular forum. So firstly, we created a forum, and then now we are going in terms of creating a discussion. So we are going to give it now a title for our discussion to say, this we can speak in terms of now, we can say characteristics of academic writing in that aspect. So once you have created a topic title, then we go to the part where it says change forum. So under changing forum, then we have in terms of where you are creating a new forum. So now that we have created a new forum, we'll navigate to selecting an existing forum. So remember we said earlier on that the forum helps to group together the particular topics that you want to come up with. Then you're going to click on the drop down arrow. So we have already created a forum that we have named it academic writing. So these are now the forums that we have with the discussion to say, as you get to create an activity, it's now linked to a particular forum that is existing. So our forum that we want is now academic writing. Then you click on it, and then you say apply changes. So after doing so, then you must go to navigate in terms of the grades. So you're going to now to set now in terms of the grade part when it comes to the activity. So this activity is a discussion that you are creating already within a particular forum that you have created first. Then you're going to put the points. So the points, then it will be based in terms of now the ICE activity that you want also to give to the student as well, and then the mark allocation that you are putting there to say, okay, in this instance, we'll say out of 15 points. And then when you click on the drop down arrow, then it asks you in terms of putting it to say not to be added in the gradebook or is now existing to the gradebook in that aspect. So you get to select those options. So you can see that already this is within the gradebook. So this is where you're going now to put in now in terms of the description that you have for the activity that you want now to create in that aspect. So this is how now you go about in terms of creating when it comes to that aspect. So you're going to provide now the description that you get to write there. So after, once you are done with that, then you can be able to go and say save and close. So after now you have saved and closed, so already it is now existing, and then you can be able to navigate to it in terms of making the changes and editing it as well. So that is how then you go about with regard to now the forum that you get to create. All right. So, and then we have another option in terms of now being able to reorder and as well as now copying it as deleting and also being able to restore. So once you have deleted, you can also be able to restore in that aspect. So that's how we go about in that aspect. So again, we have what we refer to as now the restrictions that we spoke about and which are now advised in within the particular forum. So let me navigate for you to be able to see. So this is now what we have in terms of the forum that we created is appearing at the bottom. So within now the forum, we have now the activity that we have created in that aspect. So what you can be able to do, you can click there in terms of now view the topic, and then you view it in grid, and then you can be able to edit the topic and view the statistics. There are so many aspects that you can be able to do, as well as being able to delete. So when you edit the topic, you click on it. So now that you are there, you can be able now to look in terms of the availability. So when you look on availability, these are in terms of now the restriction to say, when you click on it, it allows you in terms of when do you want this to be available. Then you start to put the date that you want it to appear in that aspect. So after you have done that, then you can put your dates. Then we have another part in terms of now the release condition. So the release condition is referred to as now the adaptive release. So in this aspect, what you can be able to do is to create a new condition or you add an existing one. So it means that this will only be released once the student have met the predetermined conditions that you have set. So you can be able to select in terms of create new or you add an existing one. So these are now the existing one that you get to choose from to say, this is what you want the student to do first in terms of that aspect so that they can be able to see. So this is now you clicking on the drop down arrow and being able to select to say you want it to be in terms of content. You want it to be in terms of award or assignment. So you get to choose the option that you want to set it for based on your discretion in that aspect to say you can set it in terms of that. And then you look to say, okay, there are no release conditions that are available for that. So you get to also navigate and be able to create your own conditions as well in that aspect. So it means that after that, that's when the assessment will be available in that aspect. Then you can be able to manage the restrictions as well in that aspect. So once you click on it, then it's in terms of now coming up with the restrictions. When do you want it to be restricted? So it's in terms of adding it to be the group work or not in that aspect. So you get to work around that. So after doing so, then you can be able to now save and close. So we looked at the first way of going about in terms of creating a forum as well as now the discussion. So firstly, we said that you navigate in terms of the activities and then you go to discussion. So that's where you are. Then another way in terms of doing that, you can go to the course admin. So under course admin, Then that's where you can navigate in terms of communication. Then you go to discussion, you click on discussion. So it brings you about in terms of the same landing page. So those are different ways in terms of being able to navigate to the discussion as well. Then the last option of going about in terms of discussion is to navigate to content on the nav bar. So you click on content. So after clicking on content, then it depends on under which learning unit and also under which theme, as well as now the more resource that you want the discussion to fall under in terms of that category. So we can be able to navigate to say we want it to be now in learning unit 5, then you can click on it. So under learning unit 5, then we have theme 1, there we have, and then there's also now the lecture resource. So after that part in terms of lecture resource, so you can be able to navigate in terms of create new. So from creating new, then we have in terms of choosing, that's where you can go to the option of saying you want it now to be a discussion. So after a discussion, again, it bring you to this page and it's similar to that. So it means that you are now going to come up with a title for your discussion. And again, it's best now to also have a forum. So it's also good to say if you don't have, then you can be able to create a forum. But if you already have an existing forum, then you can be able to navigate and click on choosing a forum that is already existing in that aspect. So you can be able to choose that this is the forum that you want. So again, you provide as well as now the title. So the process is all the same. It was looking in terms of different ways of being able to navigate to that, right? So that's how we go about in terms of doing that. So I'll just put that one there. So again, in terms of grading part, then you select in terms of the points, you put your description, and then you set your availability and conditions as well that you get to apply to the students. And then once you are done, that's where you can be able to save and close. So that's how you go about in terms of that. So the last one that I was showing you is that the discussion already is now linked in terms of now the activity under which you want the student to go and do within the particular learning unit. So you can either select the option of going to it via the activity on the nav bar, or you can go to course admin, or you can go to content. So the one of content, then it means that you're going to link the discussion in the learning unit, the theme, as well as now the topic that you want it to fall under. So that is now the difference in terms of creating it within the content. So I'll pause here for any questions that you guys are having on your side. So let me pause here for any questions. Do you guys have any questions? All right. In the absence of questions, I will encourage you to continue practicing. So the only way we can be familiar with using the LMS is a constant practice. So it means that on a regular basis, make sure that you log on to your sandbox, then you navigate. So it's a way of you being familiar with the LMS. So the LMS is there to help in terms of learning management. So we as now the instructors and lecturers, we must be equipped before we can even go in terms of managing the students in terms of their submission, their work when it comes to the LMS. So we can only do that by constant practice. So make sure that you regularly log into your sandbox and then you get to practice. So with the sandbox, what it does is that it's able now to track your progress. So once you log in and you go to the content, before you even go to content, it will be able to show you which components have you logged in and then the progress that you have made. So that is the good feature about this functionality. So once again, I encourage you to constantly practice. That's the only way we can be familiar with the LMS. So if there is no any question from your side, I'll now hand over to Mr. Alfred to be able to conclude. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, Mr. Alfred.
Morning, colleagues. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Caleb, for covering creation of the discussion, which we really appreciate. I mean, as far as our transition preparation is concerned for 2025 full blown on ARC, I do not have anything to add except only if I can see there are no questions in the chat, then we just give back the remaining time back to you, colleagues. I mean, as far as your timing in your calendar is concerned. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day further. Goodbye.
Thank you, Alfred. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.